the first thing you said was about finding balance, and that's pretty tough. I mean, you know, you're in your 40s, you've got two twin boys, or you've got twins, I should say.
As opposed to one twin boy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're working and you're trying to sort of maintain a household, maintain a life, and, you know, be a wife and be there for all of that. How do you maintain that sense of balance? And I know that that's what you're striving for. Do you think you've found it, and what do you think the keys are for you?
I mean, obviously there are times when it doesn't work, and it'd be ridiculous to think that it's always perfect, because it's not. But what I now am quite good at is recognising when it's not, before it goes too far and becomes a major issue, so I can kind of turn things around or address that and alter my behaviour. There are certain things that I still do that I absolutely have to do, because now I am being pulled in lots of different directions. And one of those for me is to understand there are a couple of things in my life that make me as an individual really happy, and one of them is still to run. So I still make sure I try and fit some running in, and I don't want to do it with anyone. I don't want to have to meet anyone. I don't want to have a stopwatch on it. I don't want it to have to be at any particular place. I just want to go out sometimes and run.
That's your time.
It is. And I joke that I exercise for sanity and vanity. And, and the sanity part is absolutely, that's like a real me thing.
Yeah.
You know, even the things that give me joy, I'm quite conscious of. So, you know, 2 or 3 times a week I will walk to preschool to pick up our children, and with the 3 of us walk home, and we get to the little field in front of our house and all take our shoes off so we can feel the grass under our feet, and we walk back to our house. So I think I've been quite good over the years of prioritising the important things to me, and to those now close to me, because obviously I have to think of other people now. And sometimes, you know what, sometimes I have to say no to work.
It's a hard thing to do.
It is a hard thing to do, especially, you know, if you need to keep the bills paid, or if you know, want to go on the holiday or do whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, a very long time ago, you know, a dozen years or so, one of my best friends very sadly died suddenly in a car accident, and she had 4 children who were 10, 8, 6 and 4. And one of the things the positions that got me to was, I used to go through this exercise, and it sounds morbid, but it's not meant to be, and Kerry would love it if this is what she left me with, was if I had 1 week left to live, what would I do, where would I do it, and who would I do it with? And I'm really clear about those things, and I would like to, and I like to try and have at least one of those things in my life every day. Yeah. And I think that really helps.
I think it's absolute. That's how I live my life. I always got this motto that live each day as if it's your last, because one day you'll be right.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same philosophy around that.
Yeah. But I think to go through that exercise, it clarifies it. If you had to really think about it. So, for example, I know that one of those nights in that week, I would have dinner with my parents without my siblings. And another night I would have dinner with all my siblings without my parents. And then another night I would have dinner with all of them together.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just... And, you know, there'd be candles and music and reading and running, and obviously my children, and I'd fall asleep in the arms of the man that I adore every night. And there's just certain things, and when you get down to that sort of level of simplicity, I think it helps you be a more balanced person, I guess, in that sense.
So I suppose that's how you find your sense of self, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you've actually sorted out your priorities and what's important to you. And then I think once you sort of clarify that, I think for anybody, giving advice to anyone, that's the first thing you would obviously suggest that they do. It's like what's really, really important.
Yeah.
And then you sort of take it from there, and also listen to the warning signs. You
Yes.
said, you know, if you're out of balance, you sort of got to know yourself. You've got to have a sense of self, don't you?
You do. And it's really hard to keep that sense of self when you are being pulled in all directions too, because sometimes you're so manically busy that you don't even have time to stop and think. You know, where am I right now? But one of the things, again, that's probably a lesson that I've learnt through my sporting career, was to try and make sure that you can pull yourself up almost every day to stop and think. Yeah, and we used to do that. I had an exercise, well, actually it's weird, it was an exercise of exercises, at one point when I was aiming for an Olympic Games, where every night, this sounds incredibly obsessive, but it goes to what we were talking about, the intensity of being an athlete. But every night for 3.5 years, I used to do 240 sit-ups and 150 push-ups without missing a night. Now, I didn't do them for the physical benefit. What I did them for was to remind me that my ultimate goal was 3.5 years away, wasn't Olympic Games. It wasn't about a World Championships that got in the way, or a Commonwealth Games, or a National Championships, or anything else. It was that thing that just reminded you of what was important.
And keeping you focused on the goal.
Yeah, and what was
game.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah, at that point, because I'd made
yeah.
that decision in a moment of rationality.
Yeah.
And when you're manic with everything that pulls you from day to
Right.
day, it's hard to remember those decisions and be conscious of them all the time.
That's incredible
Yeah.
discipline, though. I mean,
It's mental.
you're one out of the box, that's
no,
for sure.
it's mental, honestly.
Yeah.
I remember doing that at 4 o'clock
That's
in the morning in
commitment,
Perth one night when I landed on some stupid flight. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, it was completely mental.
Yeah.
But that's what I don't want to do anymore. You know, like
Yeah.
so that's where I say, enough already.